Hello, world. Welcome to Death by Podcast, episode 35. This is your horror movie podcast where we watch a vintage horror movie only on VHS, go through the alphabet, all kinds of letters. Everything's happening at once. I am your host, Adam. That's your other host,
Kevin.
That's right. Kevin, to start off, the question on everybody's mind. How is Elvis, and have you seen him lately?
I have not seen Elvis lately.
Have you? I have retconning to do or apologizing to do. I've been laboring under the assumption, you and I were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
I've been laboring under the assumption my entire life that it was Larry King that delivered that question. It is not. It's some other dude. I don't know who it is. Larry King's in the montage talking with the Ghostbusters, but he doesn't say that. And I watched it, again the other, like 2 nights ago, and I was like, holy shit, I've been wrong this whole time. So I'm coming clean.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's a good trick question because I think 90% of people, if asked who says it, would say Larry King. I mean, he's in the montage. He's the guy that asks questions, you know?
Yeah, totally. It's just weird. It's one of those things every once in a while, I guess, in your life, you're confronted with like, wow, I've been wrong about that my entire life. And you just gotta own it. So I'm doing that. It's one of my favorite movies, and you got to get it right. You know what else? When we were talking about Ghostbusters, I didn't plan all this. It's just coming out right now. But when we were talking about Ghostbusters on our Ghostbusters show a couple episodes back, totally left out like some of my favorite lines. Like, and because when I was rewatching it, I was like, man, I didn't even say that. But like, hey, does this pole still work? Come on. Like, are you kidding me?
Did it? Okay, let me ask you this. Like, because you're not as like you don't mind like the cringe nostalgia points, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
As much as I do.
Right.
But like some of them have to get at you where you're like, fuck off. But like, so did the pole? Did you notice that he had a pole?
Yeah,
that was how he got down.
You're talking about to get down into Egon's
in the new movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'm like, cool. Of course, to me, that means that Egon, when we see him in 1 and 2, and they're in, or especially 1, and they're in the fire station, Egon is all business for the most part. To me, when you see that in Ghostbusters 3, and to me, it says that Egon, there were things that meant something to Egon that we didn't know about. And so that's how I look at it. Like the fire pole reminds him of the firehouse, and he put that in there. So I don't know. That's how I look at it.
I don't know. If I had a head candidate,
that's how I choose Kevin.
I would have to be like, oh, he does it, so he has to get there in a hurry, and that's why the fire pole worked.
No,
in
it's
a firehouse.
Absolutely practical. Yeah, it's practical. But I think and you could look at it the same way. Like he was like, what's the best way to get down into my lair? A fire pole, because that worked really well in the firehouse. So He's like,
yeah, I would see him as practical rather than like nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like,
I
mean,
no, that's
the firehouse.
Fair. That's fair.
I
thought you were gonna say
maybe
yeah. I thought you were gonna say something really negative, and I was like,
I wasn't. But it is it's one of those things, and it didn't bother me in the movie because I don't think I might have been like, because I saw it at one of those theaters where you eat.
Yeah.
So I might have even been looking down. Like I didn't even register with me right away, and then I was like, oh yeah, she did go down a pole. Like it didn't, even though like I love the fire pole.
Yeah.
It didn't register with me that like, because they had get it, guys, because they had a fire pole. Like,
See, I don't look at it. I don't think I can see how there's things in that movie that they did that where they're like, hey guys, look. But I think the fire pole is more what you said. Like it's like, absolutely
it's more the spores, molds, and fungus.
Yeah.
Where they don't. I mean, they definitely linger on them, but like, it's a little like, hey, look, like it's not as egregious as the fucking the Stay Puft Marshmallow Men. You know what I mean?
All right, I get it.
Yeah.
The other one is back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Yeah, that was great.
Those 2 lines I said almost every day in my high school career, and I can't believe that I forgot about those when we were talking about it. It's just
I had
talk about egregious.
The Ghostbusters like uniform that I had when I was like 6.
Yeah.
It says that on the back. But it says back off, man, I'm a Ghostbuster.
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah, but
when you were
I've always been jealous. What?
When you were 6?
Yeah, when I was 5, 6.
That's cool.
I entered a lip syncing contest when I was like 5 or 6.
I don't know if I should hear this story, but whatever.
It was the first time I was like mortifyingly embarrassed. It was or mortified.
Was it one of those things where like your parents wanted to make money off of you in a future
No.
career of lip syncing?
So I grew up in this like tiny town, and they filmed this and they put it on like the local access channel.
Is it on YouTube?
And I was like 5 or 6, and I wanted to do no, thank God, I hope not. I wanted to do the Ninja Turtles.
Go Ninja, go Ninja.
No, it was before the second movie was out, because I wanted to do the TURTLE power at during the credits of which is like a rap song.
Yeah.
My mom was like, and it was obviously her idea to sign me up for this at the library. And it was seemingly, looking back and talking to other people, it seemed like it was a big deal in the town. I mean, probably just around, because that was the other thing. High school kids were in this. Like my neighbor was in high school, and him and his friends were in it, and they went on before me, and they did MC Hammer, and they were like doing
what MC Hammer?
I forget. My neighbor was really into MC Hammer, and I don't think it was You Can't Touch This.
I was really into MC Hammer.
I was so into. I mean, I wasn't into MC Hammer, but this kid was like the coolest. You know, he probably wasn't even in high school. It was probably in junior high, and I didn't know the difference. So much so that like when Vanilla Ice, because remember there was like a rivalry, like, but you know, you couldn't like Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer.
I did.
You know, I didn't. I was like, I from day one I was like, Vanilla Ice sucks. And then when he was in Ninja Turtles 2, I was like, this bullshit.
That's what solidified it. I was like, he's awesome.
Oh no, I was pissed. I'm like, they better do another one with
Ditch the zero and get with the hero, Kevin.
Oh man, I wanted, but anyway, my neighbor was in junior high school with his two friends, and they did MC Hammer, and they were like doing like cartwheels and shit, and I was on next, and I went up, and I was like, all of a sudden I realized everybody was like looking at me, and I freaked the fuck out, and I like did Ghostbusters, but I just shut my eyes and did this, and didn't even lip sync, and just went back and forth, like just shook my fists in the like this for the entirety of the song, and then it ended, and I ran off stage.
Oh my god! For those who can't see Kevin right now, he's like kind of like having like some kind of weird.
I was like standing, but
his fists together.
Yeah, I was in the fetal position, but I was standing, and I had my eyes closed as hard as I could,
dude,
and just did that for the entirety of the song, which is like 3.5 minutes.
Not moving your lips.
No, I wasn't even lip syncing. I was just, and I had the proton pack, and I had all the gear, and I think I just had the pack and the suit, but I was, and then it ended. I can't believe, I don't know why I waited until the end of the song to run off stage, because it would have been just as embarrassing.
Dude,
probably less so.
See if you can find the video and upload it to YouTube.
My mom has
put it on the Patreon.
My mom filmed it, like, you know, or recorded it off a TV. You know,
man, that is something else. It's almost like you're trying to like shit your pants or something like that. Like the dance, it's crazy.
It's pretty fucking. I don't want to watch. It's been 30 years.
Yeah,
and usually, you know, I can go back and watch. Like I was a witch when I was for Halloween when I was like 6.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know. And my mom, and the pictures used to really embarrass me because I was really into it. Yeah. And you would think my mom was like, no, you know,
or it's cutting edge.
I don't know. They tell you what, my mom kind of fucking got one up on me because I was like, I want to be a witch. You dressed me up as a witch. And she's like, no, you want to be a witch. And she broke out the pictures. I'll put these on the Patreon. I've never seen a kid this into his Halloween costume. I was fucking into it, man. I was,
dude.
I was
let's do that.
A witch
pictures. I'm making a note right now. We're gonna put Kevin's witch pictures on the Patreon.
Yeah, definitely.
That's pretty radical, dude. I don't really have anything like that, because the first time I ever did a talent show was with my band Apollo Creed, and we kicked ass.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna leave that silence in when I edit this.
I've never heard the band, so I'm just
Apollo Creed, man. I'm gonna find some stuff. I'll send it to you. So good. We haven't announced yet. Our show today is Basketcase, because for those who don't know, we wrapped up season 1 a couple episodes ago, where we went through the whole alphabet. We're going through it again. So we did altered states.
States.
Many of them. Last episode, this episode is Basketcase, and next episode is going to be, oh, you almost thought I was going to spoil it. Nope. Letter C. I got that cocked, dicked, and ready to ricked.
Okay.
Yeah, for the end of this episode. But before we get there, Kevin, we got some news. What do we got? I want to give a shout out. Can I do that?
Yeah.
To a friend of the show, Obi_Toybox, good friend of mine, Obi, on Instagram. He sent me an Egoom, a really awesome package today, and it was great. We had a talk. He loves the podcast. He quotes the podcast. when we were talking today, we did a little Skype action, and right as I hit like end, I heard the beginning of him yelling, "It's Miller time!" Like right as I hit end. It was pretty great. He's the one that did your "shut the fuck up" meme that I just sent you.
Oh, great.
He's done a couple of them, so he's a big fan of the show. But yeah, thank you again, Obi, for your awesome package you sent, and for being a fan of the show. This mess we have here. What else we got? We got Anne Rice. Man, you told me about Anne Rice.
Yeah, Anne Rice died at 80.
I didn't realize she was that old.
Yeah, author of Queen of the Damned, and I don't know, something
come
else.
On, man, come on. Author of all the Vampire Lestat.
The Vampire
Interview with the
Chronicles
Vampire
books. Yeah.
You know, I'm glad that when Interview with the Vampire came out, dude, my brother's a huge reader of large books. He's read everything by Stephen King, everything by Anne Rice. We were really into her stuff, and I bought all of her books with the intent of reading them. I never did, but there was like when that movie came out, there was a big sort of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling swell with her popularity, with the books, with her stories, all that stuff. Because it was a huge movie, and I think people at the time were looking. You didn't know it, but they were looking for like some kind of mainstream supernatural kind of stuff. And Interview with the Vampire hit it on every level. It was Oscars. It was
and it didn't.
freaky.
I mean, it didn't talk down to, like, you know what I mean. It wasn't. It was cool, man.
Glimmery dickheads running around, or whatever they call themselves. What do they call themselves? Glimmer dickheads.
Yeah, I think that's what the movie's called.
Edward.
Yeah,
Edward Furlong. Who's that?
No, that's
Terminator.
That's Terminator.
No, whoever it is. Anyway, she was an awesome writer, regardless of, or in spite of, Queen of the Damned.
Well, I bet Queen of the Damned's book is good.
You're probably right.
Because the movie is I guess, like, they merged two books together. There's Queen of the Damned and the Vampire Lestat, and they merged them into one book or one movie.
That's a shame.
But I doubt in the Queen of the Damned, she didn't have much to do with that movie. I'm sure. Like,
probably not.
I'm sure in the book he doesn't become like a new metal singer.
Yeah.
And
I wonder what it was, man. It almost makes me want to read the book. Almost.
It can't be any worse than the movie,
And you're probably right. It probably is really good. She was a good writer. I know she was, from what I last heard, she was working pretty close on what's the new thing that's coming out?
There's a TV series they're developing.
I thought she was working pretty close on it.
It's her and her son were big. It said they were heavily involved. I don't know how true that is, but
yeah. Was it old age?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she was 80, so yeah. I have no idea.
I mean, that's not that old, but I didn't realize she was that old. Rest in peace. Thank you for your stories, and that was awesome. It was good stuff. So she'll be missed. You also wanted to talk about Renfield. Lay that on.
Yeah, they've been adding to this cast. How much do you know about?
What do you know? I don't know much about it.
I didn't know that it was a comedy. I think it's going to be a comedy. It's directed by oh, never mind. I read this wrong. I thought it was directed by Adam McKay. It's directed by Chris McKay.
Who's Chris McKay? It sounds familiar.
I don't know. He did Tomorrow War, which was the Chris Pratt movie that I didn't see.
Yeah, I heard mediocre things about that at best.
But I still think it's a comedy. It's Robert Kirkman's on as producer.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That's weird.
It's his pitch. It's his original pitch.
Oh shit! Did he write it as well?
I don't think so, but
Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead and Invincible comic book fame.
Yeah, he's awesome on every
awesome.
yeah. But yeah, Nicolas Cage is gonna play Dracula,
which is really awesome. I'm surprised nobody's cast him as Dracula yet. Right?
I don't know. I mean, because he's
insane.
He's got the Tom Cruise thing where like
you only see
Nicolas Cage.
Yes,
I take it back. Like Mandy was pretty great. But
Mandy was fucking awesome. I love that movie.
Here's another thing. Oh, real quick, yeah. Ryan Ridley wrote the script to this.
Okay.
And Nicholas Hoult is going to play Renfield. Ryan Ridley works on Rick and Morty.
Okay.
But anyway,
Nicholas Hoult, I don't know about him. Like Beast.
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, I don't know.
He's a little precious, a little super serious kind of.
I don't mind him. I think he's in that Sexy Edison movie.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean? What?
There was a movie that came out right around when the pandemic started that kind of slipped on the radar, and I forget what it was called. I don't think it was the current war. It might have been, but I think there were two movies about Nikola Tesla that came out. About the fight for dominance in the electricity game between Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison.
Okay.
And one of them, I don't know, me and a friend of mine referred to it as Sexy Edison because it was just, the trailer was just so like, it was so weird, and like Tesla comes in at the end like he's fucking Nick Fury, and it's just like at the it was like, oh god, they're like making these like 18th century businessmen like weird. Fucking, yeah, like, oh, they're fucking so badass.
Well, I don't know, I guess like to be fair, like the only other time I've seen Tesla on the big screen, speaking of sexy, it was David Bowie.
Yeah, in The Prestige.
Yeah,
which was wild,
which was awesome. But maybe Tesla really was kind of like that. I don't know. Weird.
But I think he's in that. I forget. He's in one of them because I think there were two Thomas Edison movies. I think they came out around the same time.
So two Thomas Edison movies.
Yeah, like it was like an Armageddon Deep Impact movie thing. But
of all people, I mean, yeah, great, whatever. Slave owner, was he a slave owner? I'm sure he was.
No, I don't think so. No, I think that was pre-slaves.
All right, my apologies.
Yeah, or post-slaves. Post-slaves. They didn't. Yeah, because they didn't have electricity in the Civil War. I'm a fucking moron. But they didn't have electricity in the Civil War.
Maybe they did in like the rich places.
I mean, Benjamin Franklin did like. What happened with that? Ben Franklin like discovered it, right?
Dude, if
like,
we go down this road, we're gonna sound like fucking idiots.
I mean, think about it. Like that's how I love realizing how dumb I am. Because like, you know, the story of like Ben Franklin with the key, but then it's like, yeah, but what'd he do? Like, how'd that work? Did he put the electricity in a jar? Like, what the fuck? What happened with it? Nothing.
I just have this image.
What does that even prove?
I don't know where I get this image from, but it's an image of him holding a kite with a key, and then the kite, and then electricity, and he's being shocked, and it's just like zap, like that. I just have this image. I don't know.
You know, it wasn't even him. I mean, he was there, I guess, but it was his son. He had his son do it.
Okay.
Which is kind of funny.
He was like 6 years old. He's like, hang on to this.
No, his son was a little older, but he was like, yeah, you do it.
Oh, man. It's rough.
Yeah, he was a nut, man.
Dude, speaking of, I don't know why this reminded me of that, and people aren't going to understand what I'm saying right now, but we just recorded our Patreon podcast, and we talked about one of the actors, one of the voice actors. His name was Neil Ross, right? And I wanted to say, you just reminded me. Do you remember O.G. Reedmore from 80s cartoons? He was a cat. He was a cat who. It was one of those, you know, those bumpers that they had on Saturday morning cartoons where it was in between the commercial and the cartoon.
Yeah.
You'd get like a PSA or something like that.
Yeah.
O.G. Reedmore was a cat an anthropomorphic cat who would talk and sing a song for a few seconds. Anyway, this dude did the voice of that. And when you talked about Thomas Edison and the key, there's a thing I'm pretty sure where O.G. Reedmore is like, his whole thing is read more, kids, and there's a Thomas Edison thing in there, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
And it was like in an effort to like not be in the situation that we're in right now where we sound like idiots. It was like, if you read more and you do, and then 30 years from now you do a podcast, you won't sound like an idiot. So
there's a Ben Franklin documentary that, or not documentary, book that I've been wanting. What are those called? Books. I've been wanting to read for a long time, and I haven't. But apparently, it's like a pretty badass documentary.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
And the alphabet is a big part of this show, so maybe we should get on it.
I mean, we are on B. We can change it up and start doing reading biographies of people. We start with Ben Franklin. And
speaking of, and we already decided we're not going to go into it, but it's the holiday season, and you've been watching. I've been trying to get you to watch Scrooge for a long time. Scrooged with Bill Murray, because it's kind of like, it's Christmas, but it's also got like horror elements to it. It's a great movie. You haven't finished it, so we're not going to talk about it.
No, but I love it so far, man. But I'm about halfway through, and then it's not. I didn't turn it off because I didn't like it. I just
totally. But I wanted to pitch this idea to you. If I say something on this podcast, does it give me some sort of loose copyright? Is that a thing?
I mean, depending on what it is, I think.
All right. Well, I'm claiming copyright on this, or trademark, or it's my idea. So I was really surprised that I've never heard of a porn movie called Ebony Squeezer Scrooged. Okay. All right. Bear with me on this.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Bear with me. So it's like, because there were several horror movies that popped into my head when I was thinking like, we're not going to talk about Scrooged. And then the snowball starts happening. Mm-hmm. And I was like, the VHS cover of this movie, this is the selling point, is like one of those stereotypical sort of like creeper dudes that's like coming in to squeeze like the chick's breasts on the VHS cover. But then behind him, and it's a black chick, Ebony.
Yeah, I got it.
Behind him is another chick dressed as the future ghost that looks like death, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the Grim Reaper. But instead of that Reaper slicer thing,
Scythe.
Scythe, whatever. She's got the drill killing weapon from like Sleepaway. Was it not Sleepaway Camp? Slumber Party Massacre. Have you ever seen that?
I have not. No.
The driller killer, and he's got this. It's a power drill that's like enormous, right? So she's coming up with the power drill thing behind the Scrooge character, who's about to do bad things to this chick, and she's coming up behind him with the driller thing. And it's like, that's the VHS cover, dude. That's like $1 million idea right there, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a porn company that specializes in parody. I mean, there's a few.
Yeah, the parody stuff is huge.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a company now that the company used to be Wicked, and I remember when the Batman parody came out.
Yeah,
I think it was in high school, like the Adam West one, and I was like, but it was like, how is this legal?
It's weird.
I mean, it was wild. It was wild. I was like, how are you guys not getting sued? This is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
No, there's a company called Wood Rocket now that does all the current parodies, and yeah, get in touch with them.
I think, dude, Ebony Squeezer. So he goes after.
I got it. Yeah,
black chicks probably only Scrooged or Screwed. I'm sorry, Screwed. Ebony Squeezer Screwed, and it's just like all this stuff on the VHS cover. I think it's a winner. It's weird.
I'd go for it, man. I mean,
just popped in my head. I don't know, whatever.
They're on Twitter. Hit them up.
What else? Halloween Kills Blu-ray came out. Did you get it?
Is that why Anthony Michael Hall's been everywhere?
Yeah.
He's on all these podcasts, and he's promoting that?
Absolutely. Yeah, dude. Because I shout out to my buddy Dan, Death by Toys. He made those figures. Did you see those?
Yeah.
He made the 3 figures. Tony Hall, Jamie Gertz. No, who is it?
No, I don't remember what her name is. I can never
remember her name.
But then he made Anthony Michael Hall, yeah.
And then the daughter. So it was the mom, the daughter, and Tony Hall. And they look great. But yeah, the Blu-ray came out with the alternate ending. So I think we should watch it and critique it.
Maybe it's a masterpiece. I mean, that's what. Did you see that interview with Jamie Lee Curtis? When she kept calling it a masterpiece.
Yes. Yeah. That was before the movie came out, right?
Yeah. It was when she was promoting it.
Right.
And she's talking about all these like 11. And I think you even talked about how it was about Black Lives Matter and shit.
Yeah. She was talking.
Oh, shut
People
the
were
fuck
like,
up.
shut up. Like, because she was just talking out of her ass.
Yeah.
I hate when like celebrities do that. It's like,
Yeah, when they try and think.
Up.
I get it.
Just take your millions, do your acting, and like shut up. Try to be important. Later on, at the end of the show, we got a couple listener questions.
Cool.
We put that out there. If you got questions, hit us up on Instagram, man, or Twitter or whatever you want. Just do it.
Yeah.
What else? Any other news things?
No.
I think that covers it. We should probably get into this. This is a doozy. This movie, in a good way.
Yeah, it's a love or hate movie for sure.
So Basketcase, 1982. This is a movie this is another one of those movies, classic VHS, sitting on the shelf. Mom, obviously, I didn't see this till last year.
Yeah, I didn't see it till a few years ago. My video store didn't have it.
Okay,
I know.
I will never forget that case, that VHS cover, like
with the window blinds.
Yeah, and like the red lettering, and just crazy.
I have a shirt around here with, and I don't know where it is. I might not even have it anymore, but it's just that, it's just the poster.
Yeah. And this is one of your like top 5?
Top. I mean, for what it is, it's
Motel Hell, and
it's one of my go-tos. Yeah, I love this movie. Yeah, man, it's very like specific, and I have a lot of respect for the whole idea, like that the writer director
Frank Henenlotter, right?
Frank Henenlotter, man.
Tell me about this guy.
I mean, a lot of it is, I mean, I was pissed. I wanted to listen to the commentary track before we recorded, and I didn't get a chance. There's a new commentary track. There's a 4K Blu-ray that came out a couple of years, maybe last year, maybe a year before. And they put a new commentary track on. They put a bunch of new bonus shit on, but I wanted to listen to it. Anyway, it's very much like one vision. You know what I mean? He had this idea. He wanted to make it. He got it made, and like the struggles to get this made, like they had to stop production like fully a few times. He spent his whole life savings to make this movie. In the beginning, I mean, there's all, just talking about the budget on this movie is fucking not even just the budget, but just the shit they had to do to get this made was, just wild, man.
I wonder if the majority of the movie takes place in New York. I don't know what area that is. I mean, it looks like Times Square at the beginning.
I mean, I think a lot of New York looked like that in the, like, you look at Taxi Driver, and
sure,
that era, the early 80s, like it was just a shithole.
And there you get the feel, like, as far as what it took to make it, that's the opening scene in New York, when we first go to New York, and he's like walking down the strip, and the like drug dealer, just everybody, that he's got the basket and he's just walking down, and all these people are coming out and kind of hassling him and selling him and all this shit. And the drug dealer, who names like 30 different drugs.
Yeah.
But like, you get the sense that they just were like, all right, walk down the street with the basket. We're going to be in front of you filming, and whoever comes up to you, interacts with you, that's just how it's going to be.
That's literally how it was.
Yeah.
I mean, they had four people on this crew.
Oh, wow.
Like at the end, I don't know if you know about that. Like the credits at the end of the movie are 90% fake names, because they were like embarrassed. They were like, we can't put Frank Henenlotter for every fucking thing. Like they made up a bunch of names. They pulled a bunch of names off all their old horror movies. It was just and part of it was, he says, he's like, I didn't think anybody would ever see this, so I was willing to do a lot of things. That might be fucked up, or that might be weird, but I want to make my thing. And he didn't think anybody was ever going to see it. Like he didn't expect it to play anywhere, or
Right.
And
at the time, I mean, did it get a theatrical release?
No. So originally it got picked up, back then, big budget movie, blockbuster had just kind of started happening, where they opened, movies in every theater in the country. But it opened in, I think, one theater bought it, or one theater chain bought it, and they edited the movie. They took out all the gore.
Really?
Yeah, they took out all the gore.
You don't really have a movie then. I mean that.
Well, they marketed
you
it kind
do,
of as a
but-
comedy,
What?
and then I mean
Even if you take the gore out of this, it's not a comedy.
but yeah, so they took all the gore out, and then a couple of years later, someone found it and fixed it, and they started playing it at the what if I have the name of the theater written down? There was a theater in New York that started playing it at midnight because it was just a fucking weird movie. It was the kind of movie you wanted, you know what I mean? If you're at the movie theaters on a Wednesday at fucking midnight,
Yeah.
this is the kind of shit that you would expect to see. And they played it there I want to say it was every night for 2 years at midnight. I mean,
shit, for 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, and it became a huge hit in like those circles. And then it you know, I mean, it developed a cult following. I mean, it's just a cool, you know, because like this they didn't play this on TV. The fact that people have even seen it is wild. You know,
I can't imagine this on TV.
No, where would they play it? You can't play this on TBS.
Yeah.
You can't even play it on HBO. Like,
it's
like where are you going to play this?
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, it's because Basketcase is one of those, like, it's always been there in my, you know, peripheral, and it's a huge movie in horror circles and in the horror culture and horror universe. And I got to think it's more accessible, or it's accessible in some way other than like, you got to dig for this movie. It's bigger than that, you know. It's
well,
not
it
like,
became bigger than that though. Like, you know, it wasn't in video stores right away. I think it kind of, I don't know how it wound up in as many video stores as it did, but eventually, you know.
I gotta think that I saw it on the shelf. I mean, that would have been late 80s like mid to late 80s when I was like conscious of catching that stuff. Like
now, Basketcase 2, funny, has, I don't know about the box. It's got the same poster.
I know, that's weird.
Which is weird.
But it's not like I haven't seen 2 or 3.
I was wondering because that's the other thing. It would have been the early 90s. You were in the video store. It could have been Basketcase 2.
It's not a Evil Dead 2 scenario where it's the same movie just with a bigger budget.
No, man. The second one
totally different.
I mean, they have a bigger budget, but it's a night and day.
Okay.
I mean, the second one's awesome.
Yeah, I really want to watch it, but this movie is really hard to watch when you're in a Christmas mood, which is what I found which is the situation I was in.
Mean, it doesn't take place at Christmas. The second one definitely has more of a Christmas vibe.
Well, but regardless,
it's a little happier.
Regardless, like it's like I was watching this on my couch, and across the way, if my neighbor's standing in his window, like I was like literally sweating, because I was like, if this dude is looking in my window at what I'm watching, first of all, there's no way he knows what it is. And second, like, he's going to think I'm the most twisted motherfucker out there, because there are some scenes in this movie that are just crazy, like crazy shit.
You know what really sells the movie? Like, not even the movie, but the scenes in question is the sound, man. The sound, it never gets old.
Yeah, dude,
man.
The gist of the movie is there's conjoined twins. Is that what you call them?
Yeah, there's this guy Dwayne, and he's walking around the first half of the movie with a big wicker basket, basically, and he goes to stay in this seedy ass hotel in New York,
right? Like right on like Skid Row or like
and he's talking, and he keeps talking to this basket, and you wonder what's in the basket, and then it turns out that it's his separated, conjoined twin, deformed brother,
right?
That they performed unwilling surgery on him. They were attached at the hip, but the other one was deformed like blob. When they were 12, they separated them, and now the story is that Dwayne and the creature, they call him Belial.
Belial. What is that? Like, what is that?
It's actually it's a biblical term. It's a biblical term. It's like the name of the devil or a fallen angel or like just evil incarnate. It's supposed to be like about
that's weird.
Yeah,
because so basically they're on weird mission to
they're looking to
the
kill all the doctors
right,
that
did this
perform
to
the
them.
surgery.
Because I guess when they, yeah, like you said, unwitting surgery.
On what they didn't want it. Yeah.
Yeah. But the story is like extremely tragic. You know, like if you look at it, if you take away the gore fest that it is, and you just look at it at the story elements of the brothers, it's like a fucking tragic story, man. And like all the way up until the ending, I won't jump there yet, but it's just like I had seen this before, but there were moments where I was just like, I felt like I was like genuinely sad, where most movies that of this era and genre and like this level of schlock, you don't get that. Like I'm trying to think of like Pumpkinhead and like movies that are, you know, where it's like the evil entity is because of a tragedy that happened caused this thing to be evil. Like this one tops all of them, in my opinion. And Belial, you know, is like, you get the sense that he really is just driven by this sense of revenge and not born as an evil thing, you know?
Yeah. And
Right.
and not only that is he wants revenge and everything, but like later, some of the shit he does, like he
Does do some
he
fucked up
loves his
shit.
brother too. And
Yeah, totally.
you know, like he has this bond with his brother, like, and they have a telepathic link.
Right.
It goes on the whole movie. But he thinks his brother's gonna leave him behind, and he winds up doing some crazy shit, like to, you know, and I mean, it's nuts. It's and to me, the other thing that sells it is the creature design, man. Like they didn't fuck around with this thing,
Yeah.
you know,
It's all
and
practical, like
it could have
100%.
looked so goofy. It's super practical.
Yeah.
It's actually they used Kevin Van Hentenrock, who plays
Okay.
Dwayne.
Oh yeah.
They took a mold of his face to make it.
I was gonna ask who the face was. So it's him.
It's him,
Okay.
and it's also his voice. Like
Really?
the screaming, the yelling is him, and I'm sure the sound
Shit.
engineer came in and dicked
Yeah.
around with it, but
Yeah.
it's that's him. Like
That's
yelling.
awesome.
Yeah, he really is the star of the movie for me, man. Because
I mean,
he's so willing to do everything.
Yeah.
You know, he's not afraid he's gonna look dumb or
Right.
like, and you know, you could have that with the movie like this. You know,
Right.
he goes for it.
There's basically, I mean, there's tons of great characters in this movie, but there's really only like two, maybe three like highlight
Real
characters.
Yeah.
The brother, Kevin Van Hentenreich. What's his name?
Kevin Van
Hunt. No, what's his name in the movie? Dwayne. And then the hooker, Beverly Boner. I forget what's the Casey? No,
Casey. Yes.
Casey. The actress is Beverly Boner. She plays the hooker. Beverly Boner plays the hooker. And then there's the not girlfriend, but the girl that he dates from the receptionist.
Yeah.
Those are kind of like the three main ones, but there's tons of really great
like secondary
weird characters.
Yeah,
like
man. I love the guy that runs the motel.
He's great. Like this movie, I feel like, you know how in current acting circles, and especially in quote unquote comedy troupes and whatever, you see it a lot in like improv stuff, where it's like they think the funny thing to do is deliver dialogue in a really like direct and canned way. Like it's like a thing, and it's been a thing for years. This movie though does that, not in a comical way. It's just how it is. Like none of these people are professional actors really, and I don't think we've seen any of them since, probably.
Right? Well, Casey was in a few things. I mean, she actually just died last year.
No shit.
Yeah, in
Rest
November.
in peace.
Yeah, she had a really small part originally in the script, and she's great. She's really good.
She is great.
I
was going to say she's the best acting wise.
Yeah, I would say
got the best
acting wise.
You know, but what I was going to say is that I felt like this movie was the first to do that. Showed those like current people, like they looked at that and was like, oh, you see how poor they are at delivering dialogue, like especially the brother. It's all very like canned and sort of like awkward, but that's just because he wasn't like a great actor.
Sure.
And the owner, the motel owner, the old guy, the Snoopy guy, like they're all in that. None of them are like great actors. And I feel like this was one of the first movies to do that, but they did that because that's just the caliber of actors that they were. And it works so well for the movie in advance.
Yeah. He comes up, the hotel manager comes off authentic to me for some reason. I don't know if that's just how he looks.
Just like they sat a camera in front of real people and like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, there's other people that are like, like they're clearly reading lines, but I don't know. He works for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say Casey is, she had a much smaller part, and Henenlotter was so impressed with her. He put her in every movie he's ever done.
How many movies he's done?
He's done a bunch now. The only ones I've seen are, he did this, he did Brain Damage, he did Basketcase 2, he did Frankenhooker.
Oh no shit, he did Frankenhooker?
Yeah,
put that together.
Yeah, he wrote and directed Frankenhooker.
All right, this dude's legit.
Yeah, he is. He's all right.
For those of you who, if you like this movie and you haven't seen Frankenhooker, you got to watch Frankenhooker. Kevin pushed me on that earlier this year. It's just a great movie.
It just, it's fun. It's a lot more fun than this, actually. You know,
he takes a lot of hints. Like I even asked you, like Frankenhooker definitely feels like a trauma.
Yeah,
you know, this one kind of too a little bit. This one's
sort
a
of
little more.
It's a little more serious.
It's way more serious. Frankenhooker is definitely like a trauma.
Yeah, it's super stupid. Yeah,
thing.
But
that's cool, man. This guy's that kind of opens up like a different perspective on the whole thing, knowing that it's him. Is he still doing stuff?
Yeah, he did something not too long ago. I haven't seen any of his newer stuff. But yeah, he was making stuff up until recently.
That's cool.
I'd be interested to hear what you think of Brain Damage. I don't love it, but
what is that? Who's in that, or what is that?
It's another one just like this, like where it's about a guy. He's got like a alien like creature living like in his body, and
really,
it's
He's
not
so Henenlotter's really into like body horror,
kinda.
That's Frankenhorror, and
Frankenhooker is about like a Frankenstein kind of.
I just call it Frankenhorror.
Yeah, I think so. That's offensive, man.
Apologies, please don't cancel us. I did not realize that's what I called it. Frankenhorror. I'm gonna call it Frankenhorror from now on.
He's legit, man. He's all right. That's as much as like I like the movie. I really do. It's one of those movies where I appreciate it more every time I watch it because of just like little things that like they didn't have any money. They spent all the money on the puppet. Yeah. You know. In fact, I want to say, and I don't know if it's on the commentary track. I don't know where I heard this. I don't even know if it was a joke, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. That the scene where he comes in and gets the hotel room and he fans out all the money.
Yeah.
Like that wad of money, that was the actual budget for the film.
No shit.
Yeah, that was
actually carrying around the budget in his pocket.
Was their, yeah, this is how much money we have.
That's hilarious. That would make sense, man, because it was all brand new bills.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And he was, I mean, it's just, I imagine
so
like, this
funny.
is what not even independent film, but just making art is all about.
Yeah.
And I think about when they describe some of these scenes, like, you know, the dresser that they put the basket on. So that was clearly a prop dresser that had a hole in it, right? Okay. But there's scenes where he comes out of the drawer, you know, and whatever. So it was clearly a hollowed out dresser, and they had a guy. But he did most of the puppeteering.
Henenlotter or
Henenlotter.
Okay.
So he did a lot of the puppeteering. So like, I mean, there were scenes that he directed while he was inside that dresser. Yeah. You know, like because he had to do, you know, the hands and coming out of the drawers and shit, and like, okay, you go over there.
Back.
Yeah. I mean, he must have been, I mean, just little, and like, there's all these scenes that they describe that I think must have been so fucking awesome. Like they describe a couple. So like there was a scene where Belial was supposed to jump out a window.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to like break the glass, whatever. And they said they had to cut it because they tried for like an hour just throwing the puppet out the window, and he just bounce,
like splat.
He would just bounce off the glass, or he would bounce off the fucking thing. And I just imagine them throwing this stupid, because they don't.
It looks like
they don't hide from this puppet.
It looks like a boglin.
Yeah, it looks like a boglin.
It's
and like what I love is like, I love the new Ghostbusters is like this too, where I like when it's like, okay, we're not going to show, we're not going to show Jaws the whole movie. Okay. But then once we show Jaws, he's out. The cat's out of the bag. We're showing the shit out of him. You know what I mean? I mean, they don't do that in Jaws. But that's because the thing never worked. But like in Ghostbusters, we talked about that with the spoiler alert for the new Ghostbusters with the Egon. Is at first we were like, oh wow, that's a wild shot, and then they just keep going. Like it's like, wow, this is still happening. This is fucking weird. Yeah, that's how. Yeah, like they don't shy away. The first quarter of this movie, it's like, what's in the basket, and it's in weird lighting and everything.
What's in the box?
Once he's out, and the first time he does stop motion with it, like when he jumps out. I was just gonna
say, like,
it's some janky stop motion.
Yeah, it is, man, but it's fucking awesome. Like
it is. It works. It's what this movie is.
But it's crazy because like at this point in 82, we've already had like the Ray Harryhausen like masterpieces,
Yeah.
And which was stop motion like at its finest for the time. And then this movie in 1982, Harryhausen was in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
This movie was of a lesser quality than
of course
that.
Well, the difference
so it's like, but it's still awesome.
It's awesome. It doesn't look as good as Harryhausen because this was them moving this puppet around a fucking hotel room and doing stop motion.
Sure.
Probably with the same camera they were filming with. Like
the key to stop motion is having as many frames in your shot as possible,
which they didn't,
which this one
couldn't do.
Yeah, they didn't do that with this, and that's why it looks like he's going from one place to the other, like with not as many steps as there should be,
Yeah,
but that is awesome. And so you think for the stop motion, it's the same puppet?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, I think because they probably had multiple puppets, but like, yeah, I think they probably just. Moved it around. I mean, it was probably. I gotta dive back into the special features on this one. But I mean, you can tell like they didn't have any permits to shoot fucking anywhere. You know what I mean? Like they shoot the Statue of Liberty, and it's clearly like it's a short scene. Like, hey, we got to get in and out of here.
Yeah, totally.
Like I mean, every scene is just like we're gonna shoot it on the street. I mean, they talked about this on Red Letter Media this week that was a thing you could do in New York, where you can go down an alley and no one gives a fuck what you're doing, so you can literally shoot whatever you want, whereas
I wonder like this setup that they had probably looked like some kind of like student film thing going on.
Yeah, probably.
It wasn't like a grandiose filming like permit.
No, yeah. They talk about too where there was a guy like when they were shooting the opening scene, one of the guys that like ran one of the porno theaters like ran out with a knife and was like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh really? Like get
the fuck out of here! Don't fucking film my fucking place. Get out of here!
Oh
like,
wow. That's hilarious.
because they were filming in a bad area, like probably 1 a.m, like it was,
that scene where there's a couple scenes, but I mean, there's tons of scenes where like shit is going on in the hotel room. Belial's going nuts. Something's happening. And all these people come out into the hallway,
Yeah.
Where it just feels like they did their thing. And these are the people who are there. I'm sure they were told.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were told we're filming a thing. You're going to hear some stuff. If you guys can like, let's all run out into the hallway and be chaotic and whatever. But it was also like, has this strong element of like, these are genuine reactions of people going, what the fuck was going on? What's going on? Rubbernecking and all this shit.
I mean, that's what you would do if you heard that. That's another cool thing is, I mean, everybody's reaction seems pretty genuine. The one dude sees the money on the floor and like, you're like, that guy's going to come back and steal that money, like
that dude's hilarious, man. The old, whatever, the nosy guy. Talk about characters, like he's just, I feel like he's a character that's in like so many movies, and the way that the hotel manager talks to him, he's like did you see the wad of cash that guy had? He's loaded, and the hotel manager's like, so are you. Shut up.
I was like, that's a great line. It's a great line.
Which is weird.
He reminded me of Dick Miller in Demon Knight.
Sure.
Where he's just a regular at this place. Like, does he live
like
here?
It's almost like a halfway house.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it's $20 a week, and if you can get that together, then you're good. Like,
Yeah.
But I'm just little things bad about this. But like they didn't even have a dolly. They used a wheelchair. That's
Really?
how little money they had. Yeah, they pushed around a wheelchair to get like dolly shots.
That's cool.
Like it's fucking cool. It's and who would make this, man? You know what I mean? It's like, well, no one's gonna make this. This is what I want to make.
How early was this in
It's his first movie.
This is
as
his
far
very
as I know.
first?
I think he might have another one like on his IMDb, but I think that might be a student film, or I don't know, because I've never.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's talk about the kills, because this is like and you mentioned the sound earlier. When I was watching this, I had forgotten about when Belial kills someone, he just is screaming, and it's like, it's like it's like it's almost like a war cry in a way.
It's like this manic, like it's nuts. It's fucking
but then
nuts.
It escalates into this just like and it's listening
crazy,
to it,
man.
I was watching it with like my normal volume set, and then I realized
if someone hears that, dude, someone's gonna call the cops. It took me a second
to realize what was going on. I was like, oh shit, I got to turn that down.
Yeah,
insane. And it adds this element of the kills. It adds this element to like, it's just terrifying.
He also he has this like, there's like a, what's the word? You almost feel bad for him because he's like deformed like thing, and it's like because there's that in there too. Like he's struggling to like breathe, and there's like
physiologically the way that this creature is like, what the how are you
he's
alive?
a lump. Yeah,
it's a head with arms.
It's a head,
basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pile of it.
And every kill is pretty much the same. It latches onto the face or the head or the upper.
It bites because he's got these sharp teeth that he bites.
Just claws and bites, and it's like the person ends up with like this fucked up face and then dies. The first kill is kind of like your Jaws, where like the dude, the movie opens up and he's stalking some guy, and he cuts like the power, the phone, whatever, and then ends up in the house, in the room, and all we see is the dude's face just getting fucked up.
Yeah, you don't see it,
and we don't see Belial until later. I forget which is the first time we see him. I think is the doctor, and he's like, Belial's latched on to the side of the wall, onto the wall, and like the doctor turns the corner and he sees Belial, and Belial's just like, ah. He just screams and like latches onto the dude.
He brings him in the basket and he goes, we'll check out what's in the whatever. He shows him what's in there and he just fucking loses. It's crazy, man.
It's just so jarring when you think about
and like when it comes up and you're not expecting it, it's like, like at the end when Dwayne's gonna hook up with his girlfriend, he's all happy about it.
Yeah,
like it's gonna be this really nice, really great scene. And then all of a sudden he pops out of the fucking basket and just loses it. And you're like, whoa, dude.
That scene is bonkers because
that's a great scene.
Dwayne is just like, you can see it on Dwayne's face that he's just reached the end of his rope with Belial. And he's like in this state of like getting ready to cry. He wants to cry about it, but he's also so angry. And then he's on top of the girl. So he's like holding her down in like this. I almost get the feeling like what's going through his head is like part of him.
What am I going to do?
Yeah. What am I going to do? Do I just give in to Belial and let him kill her? Or do I let her up and let her run
he's also super disappointed, man, that that Belial fucked this up for him.
Yeah. And she's laying there like, let me up.
Like, what is that thing? What's going on? She has no idea what he is.
So she's looking at Belial like, what the fuck? And then she's also being held down by him, by Daryl, which is like, what the fuck? What are you going to do to me? Dude, that's just terrifying. And then I love that he just wraps her up in this blanket over her head and throws her out the hallway.
Yeah, throws in the hallway.
Which is awesome because the choice that he makes is like to save her life. And shuts the door and is like, go, like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And then I love that she, instead of running screaming, she wants back in and is like, she really genuinely cares about Daryl. I don't know. It's a bonkers scene, man.
Yeah, man. It's fucking wild, man. Anytime he goes ape shit. How about on the nurse? Or not on the nurse, on the veterinarian.
Is that
Like
the female doc, like
the
doctor
female
who,
doctor. Yeah, they go to the vet because
dude,
like that scene goes on forever, and then he takes her head and like she opens up like a drawer full of like scalpels,
yeah,
and he just mashes her head into it, and then she comes up, she's got a bunch of fucking scalpels sticking out of it. That shot to me is like what, like if I was seeing a movie at midnight in seedy ass fucking New York City in 1982, that's what I wanted. I want
yeah,
I want this trash.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like my mom would judge me if she saw me watching this
totally,
and I was 13.
totally.
Like, what
And
are you
he
watching?
like he sits the camera on her face for so long, and she screams. That scream goes on because she takes a couple breaths and keeps screaming while
Yeah.
these things are, and it's just like it's Henenlotter. It's like she's saying like, "Look at me," and like
Yeah.
it's terrifying, and
I mean, the gore makeup is great.
it is.
It really is. It's really good.
It's so funny though because Belial, in order to shove someone's face down, you have to have leverage, like be standing on feet, and
Yeah.
Belial somehow manages to like, with just two arms, one holding onto like her back and one on her head, to like shove her
Yeah.
into this drawer. And it's
That's
like
true.
there's no way for that to physically happen, but
No.
and then she comes up with all these knives in her face, and her scream is just, I would love to talk to Henenlotter about his choice of the scream, because it's not just Belial, it's her, and it's not just screaming. It's like it's this just death inducing, like blood curdling, ongoing screaming. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. Every kill in this movie is fucking awesome.
It is. They're all very similar.
They're all real similar though. Well, the dad is kind of stupid.
The dad's in the flashback. Oh yeah. With the like the death machine.
They made like a death machine, which actually, this is a fun fact. Most of this movie was shot like like that's the other crazy thing. Like what they use for locations, like the lobby for the motel or the hotel, whatever it is. It's just an elevator shaft. It's an empty elevator shaft. Like that lobby it's not actually a lobby. It's just an empty elevator shaft next to a stairway.
Where the hotel manager kind of sits.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what then they made it into that, and because it wasn't being used or whatever. And then like that hall, I need to know where that hallway is. I don't know. I gotta watch, because like a lot of everything else were like people's houses, or like rooms were people's houses, or a lot of it was this S&M club, which was so big they shot different things. They use like the part in the basement at his house was in this S&M club, and then they shot a lot of stuff there. Anyway, the death machine, like the buzzsaw, they hung up in that bar, like until they closed, or I think someone has stolen it. I don't know, but yeah, they kept it in that bar until the bar closed.
The bar where he's
it was at a bar in real life. Like they had to move a bunch of dildos and a sex swing like out of the way to like shoot there.
Can we get somebody to move these dildos out of the way, please?
Yeah, just out of the shot. But yeah, I think it's still, I don't know if it's still open. I don't think it is, but I know they don't still have the buzzsaw.
That would be hilarious if there's like some like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, did you like the stormtrooper catching his head on the door?
Did you see the dildo?
It's like, did you see they forgot to get a dildo out of the scene.
Yeah, the coffee cup in Game of Thrones.
But that I love that scene though, with the death machine, where the dad is upstairs and he hears all this like sawing and hammering and like building going on. And he's like,
that? Yeah.
He's like, well, God damn it, what is going on? And he goes down there, and it like takes him forever. This basement is massive. It takes him forever to get down the stairs and go through the basement until he finds like sawdust and hammers and things like that. And he's like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden he looks up and there's this like death machine that
it's like a buzzsaw on a cart,
on a wagon, or
on top of a ramp. And he's like, what's this? And then it just goes down this ramp, and then they have it's got to be the worst like effect in the movie. It just goes down this ramp, to like where his feet are, and then you just see two dummy legs just fall over in
Split.
opposite directions. Yeah, like as if it cut him in half. It was just kind of like
That's
Jesus.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
totally it's totally like
It didn't
With
even make any sense. The buzzsaw wasn't even that tall. Like it wouldn't have been able to like just chop him in half like that.
right. It's totally one of those moments where it was like, all right, we need this to happen, but we need to put the money on
Yeah.
Belial. So let's just get a pair of legs and somebody pushes him apart.
It was fine. It was. I that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
Is
I
how
love-
bad it looks.
I love the also in the flashback we see the nursemaid or whoever she is who once the dad's dead, she's like, I'm gonna take care of you guys. And they have that scene where
The exposition dump. Yeah.
where she's in, but she's like reading a story. It's like story time.
Yeah.
'Cause
I
they're
think
still
it's
kids.
Shakespeare.
Yeah. And they show Dwayne asleep like next to a fireplace, and the camera pans over and then up, and it's her in a rocking chair with the book and Belial
Yeah.
in her lap, and he's just
Yeah.
with like his
With
expression
like human eyes too.
Yeah.
Like
His
they change his
expression-
eyes.
his expression never really changes because it's a puppet.
But it kind of does. Like that's what's wild is like
It does, but when like in this scene, he's just like wide-eyed,
yeah.
like it's just so fucking disturbing. It's like she's holding a head, basically.
Yeah.
And she's reading this. But then on the other hand, on the other side of this like whole, like I said, it is a tragedy. And if she's reading Shakespeare, that's super fitting.
Mhm.
She's the only one that gave a shit about these two, especially Belial.
Yeah.
And him sitting there in her lap, it's just I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like I always have this soft spot for like mistreated underdog things, and
Yeah.
in that scene,
Oh man,
like,
you should watch the second one. I'm telling you.
Jesus Christ,
That's the theme of the second one.
really?
Yeah.
Is it Belial
Yeah.
in the second one?
Yeah.
Weird.
Dwayne too.
What?
Yeah.
All right, now that makes it interesting because like I don't know if we could talk about the ending. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever, but before we get to the ending.
Second one goes in some crazy fucking places.
Really? Okay. I'm definitely going to watch it I'll wait until after Christmas is over, but I'll definitely watch it. Do you have a most disturbing scene? Because I have a feeling we'd agree on what it is. There's a lot of disturbing shit in this movie, but
Probably, I guess when Belial goes and kills the girlfriend.
the girlfriend,
That seems pretty fucking raw, man.
it's rough. And that was the one that I was like, I know this happens. I'm pretty sure this happens, but it didn't happen when they were together and she first sees Belial. So I was like,
Right.
did I make it up in my head? And then all of a sudden, all right. So to start off, what is the red eye thing? Is that when Belial's eyes glow red?
I don't know if it's like a thing. It's just, I mean, it's
Because it only happens at the end.
Mhm.
And then it's like he leaves Dwayne and goes out the window and tracks somehow, I guess through Dwayne's knowledge of where she lives, he finds her place. And then so Belial's stalking the chick, and then Dwayne has this dream simultaneously that he's naked running through New York. So basically his dream isn't a dream. It's like
it's what
Belial's
saying.
doing. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, there's a funny kind of story about that scene too. So originally they wanted it to be Belial like going down the streets of New York. Like the original intention of this scene was it wasn't going to be a dream. It was just going to be, but like they were going to film Belial going over to her apartment, but they couldn't really figure it out. They couldn't figure out a way to do it. Like they thought about doing like putting him like, how do you do that? How do you make it so he's like going through the New York streets and it doesn't look goofy?
Yeah.
You know,
stop
you
motion.
You
'Cause,
can't
like, stop motion. You'd
it
have to do
because-
everything around him.
Yeah, you can't. And so they tried it. They were like, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
So they had the idea to do the dream like on the day or on this, like they figured that out. Like maybe we do a dream sequence and like we show it from his perspective and then we show, him running around naked. And they brought up to Dwayne, and Dwayne was like, fuck yeah, let's do that. I'm in. Like run around naked, which is cool. But the way they did it was they had two vans. They figured out, they were like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Like they would find where they would decide where they were going to shoot, like what the route was going to be.
Uh-huh.
and they would clear off any like broken bottles or whatever. They would clear, like, hit the path, and they would have one van. Basically, he would jump out of the van, run to the other van, which was in another location, and they would film him. And they did that all night. They just did that until they had all the shots they needed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was.
I really like the idea of him having the dream and it being Belial's perspective. It's got this real, like, you know, American Werewolf in London flavor where with the dream sequence, where he, you know, kills the deer and whatnot. It's like, it's just that sort of connection between the two, you know, we don't see that until this point in the movie.
Yeah. It's a good representation of like their mental bond.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm guessing that's I don't know, like I asked earlier about the red eye thing, and I guess talking about it now, that it's more of like, it's like showing almost like a lock, like a lock in a mental lock that's taking place maybe between the two.
Maybe. I don't know. I never thought that much into it. I thought it was just creepy.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it was, because then you see it again when he gets to the girl's apartment. Now this scene, this was the scene that I was like, I hope my neighbor's not watching me watch this, because this was some real, it's a tough scene to watch.
Yeah. It says on the IMDb that some of the crew like walked out. Like they weren't into them filming this scene.
Wow.
And some of the, like, and it's weird because it's like, it reminds me of like, in like Reanimator, like the scene in Reanimator.
Sure. The head.
Yeah. But they pull out just
head
before it gets nuts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they probably do a lot worse in that scene, but it's like, okay, that one's fine. You know?
Yeah.
This one does feel like filthy. It feels really like,
what was this movie? I mean, it had to have an MPAA rating, right?
I think so. I mean, maybe.
I don't know. I would imagine this would push it in a real strange direction. I don't know.
I can't imagine any censors would allow this in a movie. You know?
Maybe that's part of why it didn't get such a huge release, and it doesn't take away from the movie, but especially in like,
this came out the same time as E.T. Like, it's
I know.
You know, like,
right.
And it wasn't really a market for this shit.
Totally. It doesn't take away from the movie. It definitely, like, it's understandable within the movie, but it also like adds to that tragedy of Belial as this, like, I don't know, like, rape is a really,
it's a strong word though. Like, I mean, is that what he's doing? I mean, I guess like
that's what I was gonna say is like, yeah, he is, absolutely. She's not. She didn't invite this in, so. But I feel like part of it is just
trying to kill her. Is what I'm saying. Like, is it like?
No, I think Belial. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think Belial in this scene, he doesn't realize that he's killing her. He doesn't realize. I don't think he's like, all right, I'm gonna kill her and rape her. That's not what he's thinking. He's at this point, he's an animal, and he's kind of like, at least this is how I saw it. You know, like, I feel like he's following through on instinct and desire and shit like that without going too deep into it. But from the outside, from our perspective, it looks absolutely wretched, you know, and Dwayne's reaction is so awesome. It's like, you know, he goes in, grabs him,
wakes up, runs over there. Yeah.
And throws him in, and then he just loses his shit. And like,
he has that great scene where he's fighting him in the basket, like, where he's dragging him down the street. I mean, they had to shoot that on a real street, and he's like throwing himself around, man.
With the basket.
What the fuck is this guy doing, man?
Totally, man. I mean, it's sad. It makes me like, Belial, if anybody gets like a raw deal, you know,
I'd say Dwayne gets the rawest deal, man.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Totally. But yes and no. I mean, Belial was born as a monster. And,
yeah. I just mean, like, you know,
later in life,
doesn't actually kill anybody. You know, he goes along with it, but and then he you know, he kind of decides to stop. He's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I like this girl. And then he can't have that because his brother, like, that's the thing. Like, the way I read that scene was his brother was just like, fuck this, man. Like, you're going to leave me behind. That's not going to happen. Like, so that's why he kills the girl, you know? You
think that's Belial's?
Yeah, I think it's thinking? Straight motive. Like, yeah,
really?
That's why. Okay. Yeah, I think he just did it. I don't think he was
maybe that's I always go back to the toilet bowl scene, which is hilarious and weird.
Which I wonder how they shot. Like, do you think that, I mean, did they build, like that's the thing. Like, was that like a set they built above? Because like when the hand comes out of the toilet, I'm like, okay, so that's easy. Like with the dresser, clearly he's inside the dresser.
Yeah.
But
I think
is
there's
this a
just
set they built and he's under the floor?
I
You
don't
know,
know.
like
I mean, it could be. I guess I doubt it's a real toilet, but that scene is, he's hiding in the toilet. He comes out and they have a talk, and it's like, Dwayne's like, yeah, it's you and me. Like, I would never abandon you, and this and that.
mhm.
And Belial's sitting on the toilet. You get the sense, even though Belial never communicates in a human way throughout this movie, you get the sense that he's genuinely sad and scared, and like, I don't know. This is me giving, like, I give anthropomorphic properties to rocks, like, and I feel bad
Sure.
when somebody throws a rock away. But like, I just feel bad for this guy because he's a fucked up thing. And I don't think that he means bad. I think
Yeah.
it means ill. I think that he's just a scared animal.
You
creature,
man, you should really watch the second one.
Yeah, I will. I absolutely
Because only because like they really explore that.
Okay.
They really like, and
I know you have more insight into it since you've seen that, but that's just where I'm guessing.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of
the first.
It's cool. And it's cool because it's nothing like this movie.
Yeah,
and it's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about it, but it is like, yeah, all that is like totally explored in the second movie.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely want to see that.
But there's also that, like, but is it like,
Okay.
like there's that whole thing too.
Which then takes us to the the climax of the movie, and Dwayne is just going bonkers, and he's had it, and then Belial starts fighting back.
He lifts him up by his dick.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that scene is amazing because it's like, that Dwayne is on some kind of like rig or like something's lifting him up. And at this point, all the townspeople, whatever the
motel
people,
residents,
they're all in the room. Everybody's there, and it's all out in the open. Streets packed with people, and he lifts him up by his dick. Yeah, and then like,
didn't they do that in like Happy Gilmore or something? Like,
maybe if he did, was it like Apollo Creed's fake hand?
No,
like,
I think it was. I'm thinking it was. I forget, Richard Keel, the guy that played Jaws in James Bond.
Oh yeah,
he plays Happy Gilmore's boss.
Okay,
I think he does that to Shooter McGavin. I could be wrong.
Really?
I don't know, but I've seen that.
I'm sure that whatever. I'm sure they stole it from Basketcase.
Yeah. the incredibly original idea of lifting someone up by their dick.
Oh, they did the dick lift in that one, and then they, he attacks his face, and they fly out the window. Belial catches him by the throat.
Yep.
And is hanging on the sign so that they're trying to save them both. And this is another example, man, of that. Like, it's so, for me, it's so like heartbreaking because even though in the room it was anger and like animalistic fighting, the second they're hanging, Belial, I think, realizes like, I need to save my brother, but he's holding him in the only way he can, and that's pretty much what kills him, by the throat, and then also the fall. But like, he's really trying to save his brother, and he doesn't, at least in this movie. I know that you said,
well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, clearly at the end of this movie, like, he slips, they fall, they land on the ground. They're dead, right? And that's the one thing. Like with the second one, it's like, they explain what happened, but it's also like, it's not. It's just they didn't die. Yeah. Like that, they weren't dead. They looked dead, but they weren't.
Also, speaking of they looked dead, they're lying in the exact same position that they were born in. Did you know that?
So I didn't notice that.
They died in the exact same position. Like, Belial is the camera pans up, and Belial is at his side where his scar is.
It's a lot. It's pretty deep. It's deep.
Yeah. This movie is that. I think this movie, you can watch it on a ton of different levels, and it is a great movie. Like, but it's a tragedy, it's a horror, it's a comedy, it's all that stuff. It's just a mix. It's terrifying.
Yeah, man, it's solid, man. It's a good.
It is a really, I would say, as far, it's not like on my favorites list, but it's on my like most appreciated list of the
Yeah.
80s. I think that this, if you looked at like, all right, what are like the best like 80s horror movies as far as thought that was put into them, and
Yeah,
this would
like
be in the top,
originality too.
yeah, this would
you
be in the
know?
top 10 definitely.
Like, yeah, it's just a really cool idea, and it's
Mhm.
really it's well executed, and I'm just glad movies like this exist.
Yeah.
And I feel like the version, whatever kind of movie this is like the perfect version of that.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
and it also, I think it deserves credit for sort of opening the door for a lot of shit, man. Just a lot of stuff. It had the balls to like just do what it wanted to do. Henenlotter did what he wanted to do. Absolutely. I can't imagine like there was something here that wasn't
No, like
what he
there was no
wanted,
producer
you know?
being like, "Hey, man, we can't have this.
Yeah.
We can't, we
Yeah.
can't. We got to tone down that scream. We got to tone down this." And no, it's pure like
Yeah.
just this is my thing. Take it or leave it.
Right.
You
The dude, I want to look into this guy more. And I saw today somebody posted like a meme of, or the small clip of Frankenhooker where she's just like, want a date? And I love that so much. And going into this, I didn't realize that he directed that as well. But
yeah, it's not even like he lightened up, because he's you could tell he's got a sense of humor in this one, but
he tried something different.
Yeah,
and
hit the other movies, they get a little more lighthearted as they go. I think his next movie was Brain Damage,
okay,
which is a lot like this. I don't like it as much, but it's like this where I like it more when every time I see it. But I've only seen it a couple times, and it's another weird one. It's another super weird one, but it's but yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it is awesome. So yeah, if you haven't watched this movie, it's you gotta check it out. It's, if you're a horror fan, this is horror. This is pure horror, and so much else. So I guess that's that. You got anything else on this?
Nope.
Cool. What were we gonna do next? We're gonna do questions.
Yeah,
we got
listener.
We got listener questions. So we put it out. We're taking listener questions now. You can just throw them onto any post on Instagram, Twitter. Instagram's probably your best shot. If you're on the Patreon, hit us up on Patreon. We will answer your questions. This week we got another one from friend of the show, Charlie Gucci, and who asked one last week about like monster mashups. So he says, as a follow-up to my question from last week, what are two monster types that each of you would like to see go to war a la Underworld style, like vampires versus werewolves, for film or TV? And it can be anything like slashers versus kaiju, aliens versus werewolves, zombies versus Terminators. So feel free to go wild. What do you think about that?
If it was like all the slashers on like a team,
Uh-huh.
like that would be neat. Like
versus what?
I don't know, like versus werewolves, or like versus, I don't know. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool.
That's not so far-fetched, man, because when you look at what they did with Freddy versus Jason and they put two dudes in a movie that we grew up with and there were slashers. There is a way, like, have you seen those pictures that people post every Halloween where it's like, it's a staircase and at the bottom of the staircase in the shadows is like half the slashers, Chucky and whoever, Jason. And then at the top of the staircase is the other half, Michael Myers and Freddy, whatever. And it's like, if you had to go in one direction, which direction would you go?
I've never seen that one.
It's a really cool like image that always floats around Halloween. It would be possible. And there's a story that you could come up with.
I mean, it would be cool if they did Cabin in the Woods, but with the actual properties. That'd be awesome.
Okay, that would be cool. Where they're like each set loose.
They're not in continuity with each other,
because they're each set loose on a group of kids. And
yeah, I mean, that'd be but that has, I mean, Cabin in the Woods has everything. It's got sea monsters. It's got,
but it's like the generic version.
Yeah, exactly. They say like, oh, it's Psycho in the Woods or whatever instead of, Jason.
Yeah, that would be awesome if like, Jason is out in the woods. Michael Myers is like in the closet.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what Waxwork was intended to be.
You go to sleep and Freddy's going to get you, Chucky's under your bed. There's a way to do that.
And you know what? I mean, look, they made Ready Player One.
Yeah.
You know, why couldn't they do it? I mean,
what if
you
it
could
was
do
like,
it.
what if it was like that's that concept, right? What we just said. And while these slashers are all like coming in on these kids into the cabin, all of a sudden there's like out of the woods comes this like pack of werewolves and they're coming for everyone. And so it's almost like, you know, Jason's going in to like hack up some kid and a werewolf comes through the window and then he's got to like turn and fight that. And the kid's got to like escape from the whole thing. That would be fucking awesome.
It'd be awesome.
Uh,
Yeah, it would be way awesome.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, and I mean, types of monster. I think you threw Terminators in there.
Yeah, I would love to see like Terminators versus like Alien Predator. Get that whole thing going.
Like Alien, Predator, Jason. Like, because that's the other thing. Like, you can't kill. You know, you can't kill Jason. Like, you could put all the Terminators you want. Like Terminator. It'd be wild to watch like Terminator versus Jason because, like, I mean, you could rip him in half, but that doesn't kill him.
Yeah, I guess.
You know?
What do you do? Like,
I mean, look what I mean. I mean, in Jason Goes to Hell, they blow him up, but
true. And then his juice goes everywhere.
Yeah,
gets in people. You know, the Dark Horse comics. Did the Dark Horse comics ever put? I know they did Alien versus Predator. Did they ever throw Terminator in there? Because that was a Dark Horse property as well.
They did RoboCop versus Terminator.
Oh right.
But they,
I don't want RoboCop in there. He's not horror.
He's not horror. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's so fucking awesome.
Yeah, he is awesome.
I fucking love RoboCop.
Yeah,
man.
RoboCop is the best.
He's so
I would love to see throw Terminator into the mix and just have him like plow through aliens and predators. I think that would be rad.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's funny because it's like Freddy would be useless in that fight because you know what I mean. Well, maybe in like Alien versus Predators, maybe. But like Terminators, he'd be useless. Like they don't dream. You can't.
You'd have to be like, oh, the only way we could kill the Terminators is if we go to sleep and pull Freddy out of the dream, and then But then it's like, then he's just a regular dude in the real world. I don't know. Yeah, he doesn't. Really
and I don't think he has any of his powers in the real world. That's the whole point. You know. Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Charlie. We got to reveal my letter C. I get the letter C for 2 weeks from now ish when we do our next show. As I said, remember we're taking a couple weeks off for Christmas. So for letter C, we talked about this. I've been talking about this for a long time. I don't think you've seen it yet. I wanted to watch it when we did Cat's Eye, but Cat's Eye was too good to pass up. So we're going to watch Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
Oh yeah. That you've talked about this one a lot.
Yeah. This is one of the probably the most underrated zombie movie ever created. It's so weird and terrifying, and it's made in 1973. It's directed by Bob Clark, the man who
of the Christmas Story.
So he had like a early career horror thing going on.
A lot of guys do because they're cheap to make.
Yeah, I guess.
They can show up. That's like a thing in film school. They tell you your first feature, make it a horror because you can make it for cheap, and it can showcase your abilities really well.
Yeah, and it's just I learned that obviously, like I grew up with Christmas Story, Bob Clark's Christmas Story,
me too.
Whatever. And then I found out and then I also grew up with this movie, but I didn't know that he did this until recently. I was like, what? Hell you say? I think you'll dig it. It's different, man. It's like, it's very like student filmy kind of feel, but like a step up. And
I mean, that's how Night of the Living Dead feels, you know?
Yeah. I guess it's in the same.
In the beginning, it doesn't anyway for me.
The same realm.
Like it feels like it's,
yeah,
people get running around with a camera.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of what it is. So look forward to that. I would highly recommend going to watch it. I believe it's on Tubi right now for free, or YouTube, but I'm pretty sure Tubi just recently put it on. It's got some fucking amazing posters. Look those up.
I'm glad you picked that because I probably wouldn't have ever thrown out on my own.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll check it out for sure.
Cool. And what else? I think that's all we got. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this also, we wrapped up our first season a couple episodes ago. This wraps up our 2021. So thank you all for being with us this year. New Year's Day is just the next day, but when you're doing something like this, it's cool look and see what you did throughout the year. And we started this in May, I believe, early May. So we've been,
maybe
we've been going for like 7-8 months, if my math is right. So yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a good. This has been a much needed thing for me, considering how my year has been. So, Kevin, I thank you. I thank the listeners, and it's been a blast. But we'll be back in the new year with some more garbage. In the meantime, we'll still be posting on Patreon. We actually, for our BoobTube TV Patreon podcast, we watched this week. We watched Inhumanoids, the '86 cartoon, episode 1. So we'll have that on the Patreon, and then we are going to transition along with our letter C, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. For that same week, we're going to have Kolchak, the Night Stalker, another Bob Clark alumni, Darren McGavin from Christmas Story, stars as Kolchak, the Night Stalker. Fucking awesome show. So,
wait, what episode of that are we going to watch?
Let's just go with episode 1.
Okay,
because it's got like 2 made-for-TV movies that launched the series, and then the series goes for like 20 or 22 episodes, and then that was it. And a ton of books. There's a bunch of books and comics and novels. It had a little bit of a life after the series ended, but McGavin doesn't get credit, man, that he should for this. He's just this gumshoe that like shows up with his camera taking pictures of like zombies and shit that's going on, and he always solves the day, saves the day. So anyway, it's a great show. We'll be watching episode 1. You should be able to find that somewhere. I don't know right now off the top of my head where it is, but we'll be doing that for the Patreon as well. Speaking of, if you want to support the show directly, you can hit us up at patreon.com/deathbypodcast, where we have our second podcast, BoobTube TV, all kinds of behind the scenes and sticker packs and all kinds of custom stickers that we've done. And it's a cool community, slowly growing community that is supporting the show. You can find us on social media, Twitter at DBP Podcast. Instagram is our social media hub at Death by Podcast. The YouTube channel is under construction. That's another goal for the new year. It's there when we post. If you like listening on YouTube, our podcasts are there. So, but we'll be posting more stuff as well. And I think that's it. All right. I am your host, Adam. That is your other host,
Kevin.
It's Miller time. Kevin, take it away. Perfect. And with that, you should do just that. Go eat some snacks, some Twinkies, and we will see you in the new year. Thank you all for being here. Adios. Adios.
Yeah.